Thank you, Claire, for that introduction. I'm probably the only person in the room with my mum and dad in the audience, so they're loving it. And also, if I don't name check my youngest son, Zach, give us a wave, Zach, he would be upset with me. So I'm absolutely thrilled and delighted to be here today. And I'll tell you why. I love Leeds. Anyone else love Leeds in the room? Thought you could do a bit better than that. Anybody else like Leeds in the room? I agree. Leeds is a city that I know and love, and really it's for three main reasons. I'm a graduate of Leeds University, where I studied English and theatre studies. It's also where I had my first boyfriend, but it's also where I met my husband, John. This time, yeah, a bit of audience participation here. Oohs and ahs. And actually our daughter now is a student here, and she's studying international history and politics, and she loves it as much as I do. So I'm absolutely thrilled when I was asked to come and speak at Be More Leeds, a day organised by and curated by Creative England, celebrating and exploring the creativity that is fueling the Leeds city region. And it's also because if Caroline Norbury asks you to do anything, you just do it. So that's the other reason I'm here, and I see Amanda nodding her head in unison. So for me, Leeds has always been inextricably linked with creativity. And in many ways, this is one of the first places that I actually got to delve into the creative world, spending huge amounts of time at the Leeds Playhouse, as it was used to be called, now the West Yorkshire Playhouse, and also in the Leeds Grand Theatre, not to mention numerous ever so embarrassing productions that I did get involved in at the university. But you also don't need to look too far to see the influences of the creative scene in Leeds. Just look where we are all sitting today. We are in Lambert's Yard. Now, do you know this building dates back to the 17th century? And it's actually the last surviving triple-storey house in the centre of Leeds. Who knew? Yeah, more oohs. It used to house George Lambert's grocery store, but since then it has been home to a whole swathe of different businesses. And now, with the imagination of some of the best people in design and decor and fashion and architecture, minds across the UK, it is this gorgeous space that you see here today. And also home to one of the earliest fashion incubators hosted by the College of Fashion Enterprise. So there could literally be no better place for the launch of Creative England's Be More Creative initiative today. And I think this is going to be a strong start for a series that's really going to highlight the strengths of creativity at a local level, to really showcase the diverse and distinct voices that reflect every area, and really also to celebrate those innovative individuals and businesses who are pushing the boundaries of creative content and pushing technology to its real limits. And knowing the wealth of creative talent that we have in the UK, I'm also really proud to be here representing the creative industries and the Creative Industries Council. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Creative Industries Council was formed about 5 years ago. And the aim here was to bring industry together to work in partnership with government in order that we would develop a joint strategy to promote, to safeguard, and to position our sector on the global stage. And to do that, we have worked incredibly hard to bring the sector together and to speak to government with one voice about our shared ambitions. Let me tell you, that is not an easy thing to do for an industry that is made up of over 250,000 individual businesses across 9 very distinct and different subsectors. But it's working. And we have come a very long way over the last 5 years, where I think, if we're honest, we were kind of off radar, and now we've come firmly centre stage. And this, I think now, is the most exciting time to be in our sector, because the creative industries were highlighted as one of the UK's world-leading sectors in the government's Industrial Strategy Green Paper, and we were celebrated for our global performance and also our growth potential. But with that spotlight came a challenge. They said to us, come to government with ideas that will transform our sector, develop proposals for a sector deal for the creative industries. And, as is so often the case, the creative industries are ahead of the curve. 50 industrial sectors have come to government asking for their own deal, and we are one of the first. And as a sector, I think we're an incredibly useful exemplar because we're pioneering where the rest of the economy looks set to follow. So basically, if you can solve the issues we face, you can solve it for any industry. Just take a look at it. What do we have? We've got a huge freelance workforce. We've got a sector that's dominated by micro businesses and also SMEs. And it's a sector whose value lies in intangible assets, intellectual property, instead of things. So if you crack it for us, you are absolutely on your way to solving it for everyone. Now, just last week, Caroline, Amanda, and I met with the entire Creative Industries Council, alongside the Culture Secretary, Karen Bradley, and also the Business Secretary, Greg Clark, and also the Minister for Digital. We had a lot of Secretaries of State and Ministers in one place, Matt Hancock, and we shared with them our emerging thinking. And I wanted to share with you today a couple of the big issues that we talked about. Caroline's already talked a little bit about some of them, but I'll go into a bit more detail. So number one, place. How we build on an area's strengths and embrace a region's identity, that is key. And a place like Leeds has so many strengths to build on. It is the largest centre outside London for financial and business services, but also for digital, for creative, for publishing and broadcasting. Leeds can boast being home to Rockstar Games, maker of the popular Grand Theft Auto, and Sky's technology hub. Where are you, Sky? Give us a wave at the back. Oh, that's all of Sky in you. At Allied London's Leeds Dock. Leeds has the second highest concentration of knowledge-intensive jobs and is also the third largest manufacturing centre by local authority area. Now, our places include a wealth of small companies full of knowledge and ideas, developing dynamic local partnerships that we must support and promote. And that actually brings me to another of the big issues in the Council's discussion that we shared, that of partnership. Because the only way that we as a sector, or indeed we as a nation, can really deliver an industrial strategy that works is all about partnership. Everyone here today, whether you're in local authorities, local economic partnerships, university, higher, further education, cultural organisations, businesses, big and small, we have all got a vital part to play in helping our creative industries to seize the opportunities that lie ahead and to reach our full potential. And that really matters. It matters because the growth of the creative industries will mean more high quality, more future-focused jobs up and down across the country. And it means economic growth and prosperity for the creative clusters around the UK. And although as the UK's fastest growing city, Leeds is already doing pretty well on that front. But also it means more opportunities for the UK's army of creative talent to be able to reach audiences with their work and also to build a thriving business. So these were, I think, two of the main big themes that came out of the council discussions. But of course, they're not the only issues that we have on our agenda. As a council and on behalf of our whole sector, we're also very clear about all of our priorities, about our need to nurture talent and to have access to the very best skills now and also in the future. Our power to export to new and rapidly expanding global marketplaces in the face of ever-increasing competition. Our need to access the investment that's vital to help the proliferation of startups develop into long-term and sustainable businesses. Our need to make sure that we can generate our fair share of value from our creative rights. And of course, our power to innovate, not just within our sector, but across the technology sector and also the wider economy. And if we can get this right, the size of the prize is well worth it, because we see and we know that our creative industries could support 2.5 million jobs just by 2025 and contribute over £150 billion to the UK economy. But behind those facts and figures are experiences that have a huge and positive impact on the day-to-day lives of so many people. Let's look at some British success stories. In advertising, an industry that I know very well, the UK has always led in inspirational creative campaigns. And the award-winning work by the UK agency Abbott Mead Vickers for Guinness gave us all an insight into the fearless world of wheelchair basketball, celebrating, do you remember that campaign? Yeah, people nodding their head. Celebrating the player's character's integrity to communicate the brand's distinctive value. Or even think back to the London Olympics. It was an incredible catalyst for urban regeneration, and it fast-tracked 30 years of planned work into just a decade, transforming the whole of East London and creating the largest park in London for over 100 years. And I think this is a great example of how putting a city onto an international stage can be transformational, as Leeds will hopefully discover when you win the bid for the European City of Culture in 2023. Everyone's going to sign up, by the way, after that. Think about publishing. The Hay Festival in Wales, founded just around a kitchen table in 1987, now attracts some of the world's greatest writers, filmmakers, comedians, politicians. And it now has events, not just in Wales, but from Peru to Bangladesh. And I love that Bill Clinton called it the Woodstock of the mind. But today, our attention is very much focused on Leeds. Now, the Lumiere brothers and Thomas Edison are usually created and credited with pioneering the moving image. But there is evidence that the first film was actually shot here in Leeds in 1888 by Louis Le Prince, who doesn't sound much like a Leeds bloke, by the way, and his curious wooden box. So you got there first. So today, let's use this opportunity. Let's shine a light on the creators, on the pioneers, and also the mavericks, the ones with the innovative ideas and the groundbreaking businesses who are emerging and thriving right here in Leeds. And as the Leeds raised Peter O'Toole once said, "I will not be a common man, because it is my right to be an uncommon man. I will stir the smooth sands of monotony." So I don't doubt that you will leave here today being inspired to be more Leeds and to be more creative. Thank you.